Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about proportional versus non-proportional. So we're going to start with some notes, just plain old notes to talk about that. So proportional relationship. So to determine if a relationship is proportional, there's a couple of things you should check depending on whether you have a graph or a table or an equation. So first thing to tell if a relationship is proportional is that when it is graphed, a line is formed. Now it can't just be a line though. The line also has to start at the origin or go through 0, 0. So that means that if I was going to graph this relationship, so if I had a graph here, an x and a y, then my line must go through 0, 0. So it could look like this. As long as it's a straight line. What it could not look like is if it started up here on y and went like this. So this blue line is not proportional. Even though it is a straight line, it doesn't start at the origin. Whereas this gray line is proportional because it starts in the origin and it's supposed to be a straight line. Okay, so let's look at another criteria for proportional relationships. So this is how you can tell based on a graph. Next thing says you must multiply x by some number to get y. So that means if I were going to write an equation for any proportional relationship, my equation could be written in the form of y equals kx. Now it says multiply, but you could also be dividing. As long as you're not adding or subtracting, then you're fine. So multiply, I'm going to add in there, or divide. Because technically when you are dividing, you are just multiplying by like a fractional portion. So you must only multiply or divide x by some number. So your equation can be written in the form y equals kx. So you always have to have some kind of multiplication. You can never have a plus or a minus over there, like when we were creating equations from a table. The last piece of criteria for proportional relationships is that the relationship of y over x, so if I were going to write y over x, for each of the data points is the same relationship. Basically what that's saying is that when I create a ratio of y compared to x, it's going to stay constant or the same regardless of which y and x I pull out of my data table. That means they have the same unit rate when you simplify it down, and the ratio is equivalent. So those ratios, those rates are equivalent rates within it. So let's look at some examples. Okay, so here we have an example. It says the relationship is all medium pizzas cost $6. So I'm going to look at this in a table and in a graph. So go ahead and pause the video and write this stuff down. Okay, so we have number of pizzas, our process, and our cost. So I'm going to just plug in some numbers for the number of pizza, 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I'm going to think about my cost. Well, if I had one pizza, my cost would be $6. If I had two pizzas, since all medium pizzas cost $6, that would be, so to get 6, we did 1 times 6, right? That would be 2 times 6, 3 times 6, 4 times 6, because all of them are the same cost. So here we have 6, 12, 18, 24. So we've got to decide, is this a proportional relationship? So if you notice, 6 over 1 is 6. Then we look at the next one. 18 over 3 is also 6. 12 over 2 is 6. 24 over 4 is 6. All of those are equal to 6. So far, my constant rate has worked out. It's been 6 each time. Notice that my equation here would be y, the cost, equals 6 times x, the number of pizzas. So if we look at the way the equation is supposed to write, it's supposed to be written in the form y equals kx. And here we could write that in the form y equals 6 times x. So we just plugged in a number for k, any value that we're multiplying by. Our constant ratio is staying the same. Our equation, y equals 6x, matches that. And so this is a proportional relationship. Awesome. Let's look at another example. Now if you notice, this one is similar. The first two pizzas cost $6 though, and all additional pizzas cost $4. So we're going to fill in the number of pizzas, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, the first pizza is supposed to cost $6. Perfect. So go ahead and go to the next video and continue this example.